So, story
Keeping in the
time.
theme.
Yes. So uh, this was, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, where my wife dropped in. I
Wow.
can't a comment. I don't remember what we were talking about at the time, but she mentioned that she had asked me out on our first date. And so Charles was interested in hearing that story. So if he still wants to hear that story, he's going to have to, listen to the episode.
He's gonna have to sign up for Patreon.
Yeah, he'll have to come. He'll have to come back with that milk. So this was my first semester in college. My wife and I were living in. It was the
Sin.
same. It
You
was
were living in sin.
It was the same. It was the same apartment complex, but from a paperwork standpoint, it was technically two separate apartment complexes.
Oh, okay.
We attended a religious college, and so apartment complexes for single individuals had to be single gender. And so from a paperwork standpoint, it was two separate apartment complexes, although we shared, same manager, amenities, parking lot, everything. Anyway, so but because of that, we were also in the same ward for church. We met at the same time, because the way that our church does meeting times is it's designated by where you live.
Okay.
So you're assigned when you go and what building you go to based on where you live. So the first time we met was actually at a church function, and we were meeting together, and we were going around introducing everyone, and she mentioned that she was from Tennessee. And my mission trip for my church, I spent a lot of time in Tennessee, circling around Memphis. And so I'm like, she's kind of cute. Maybe I'll ask her out sometime. And I had that thought, and couple months go by, and during those months, my roommate had started dating her roommate. And my roommate kept saying, "Hey, what do you think of Kelsi? You should ask her out on a date." And he got kind of pushy about it. And I don't like being told what to do. So I was like, my natural reaction was, nah. Even though before I was like, I should ask her out on a date.
Yep.
But because someone was trying to push me to it, I was like, nah. And so her roommates arranged to have a group date where the girls all asked a guy. And so that pushed her to asking me out for our first date. And that was where that all started.
And you said, nah.
So we went on our first date, and we only had, I think, a month left in the semester. So we hung out for the rest of the semester, but didn't actually have an official second date. But during that time, we were getting to know each other, and I had the thought that, maybe I could possibly see myself spending the rest of my life with her. But I knew that she was going to be gone for the next few months, because the way our school worked is they had a 3-semester setup. So
Okay.
you went for 2 semesters and you had 1 semester off. That way they could push out more students faster. Because
so not everybody was on the same schedule.
Correct.
Oh, all right.
We happened to be on the same schedule. So her off track is what it was called. Her off semester was the same as mine, but I didn't have anywhere to go home to, because my mom had terminal cancer and was living in assisted living and then living with her sister. So I didn't have anywhere to go home to. So I just stayed in the college town, even when I wasn't going to school actively. But because I had that thought that, maybe she could be the one, what I did, and it still peeves her a little bit to this day, is while she was gone, I went on a ton of first dates, because I was like, she's the first one ever that I've thought about having a serious relationship with. And I'm like, I need to have more experience to make an informed decision. So she got a little peeved, but my goal was to see if I had those type of feelings for anyone else, or if I was just, I wanted to make sure I was in love with her and not in love with the idea of being married, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
but Joe, when they're the one,
And so
I'm helping, Kelsi. I'm helping.
And so I went on a lot of first dates while she was gone. And when she came back, the first day, I immediately asked her, "Hey, do you want to define the relationship?" And so we officially labeled ourselves as a couple, and we're dating exclusively. And yeah. My wife.
Yeah. And you're so lucky that this is a family show where I can't say what I want.
My wife put in the chat, "Thanks for looking out for me, Kurt."
Yeah, I see that.
But
I have a new nickname for you, which I'll tell you off air.
So our first date was in November, and then she was gone from December until April, and we got engaged the end of June.
Okay.
So 3 months of dating, really.
Yeah.
Effectively, before we got engaged.
Yeah, that's just it's a weird point of reference for me. So just like,
we are abnormal by most standards.
Sure.
Yeah, and then married in January. So engaged end of June, married in January.
So this is a little astray, but now I'm curious. Did you do a Mormon wedding?
Yes.
And are they usually big, elaborate things? Because I don't know. I literally have no idea.
It depends on the couple, but not generally.
Okay.
So the actual ceremony is definitely not like 100%, because most Mormons, they will get married in one of our temples.
Right.
And the only people allowed to attend are people who have temple recommends. So just being a member of the church doesn't mean you can go. You have to go talk to your ecclesiastical leader and get an endorsement to be able to go.
Wow. So friends and family who are not of the faith, forget it.
They cannot go to the actual ceremony. No.
Wow. Okay.
So.
Wow. Yes. How many weddings have I been to where I wish that was the case?
And so, yeah, that in and of itself is a very, very small, the room itself seats maybe 40 people.
Okay.
Depending on the temple, but the one we got married in, it would seat maybe 40 people.
And is there a reception that happens?
Yeah, so we did a wedding we actually did 3 wedding receptions. One in Washington, where my family is from. Yep. And we got married in Washington because my mom had terminal cancer. That's where she was living. So we went there so she didn't have to travel. And then after the wedding, we started driving cross country because we lived with my in-laws afterwards for a while, for a few months. And so we ended up stopping in Idaho and having a really small reception there, like really low key, because I have a lot of family in Idaho, and that's where we were going to college too. So family and friends could then come, and so we had a really low key one there. Then we had a much bigger wedding reception here in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
But yeah.
Interesting.
So
yeah. And I ask about the ceremony because we had a moderate ceremony. We were married in the Catholic Church. I'm not Catholic. My wife was brought up Catholic. But I've been to Catholic weddings that are full masses. And if you've ever been to a Catholic mass,
I have.
They're long. Mm-hmm. And I've been to a full mass wedding that was bilingual, which makes it even longer because things get repeated over and over again. Mm-hmm. And so English, French, Catholic wedding. Oh my God. It felt like it must have been 6 hours long. It felt interminable. So I wish I wasn't allowed to go.
Yeah, my older sister actually got married the day before us.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, her whole setup was actually even more expedited than ours.
Okay.
But yeah, so because everyone was going to be in town, she's like, "Can I get married the day before you?" And we're like, "Sure." So we actually used a lot of the same decorations, just individualized them and whatnot. But
Why
yeah,
not? And
yeah.
well, and again, if the official ceremony has to be that small, it seems like that
Well,
would be less of an issue.
well, yeah, but she didn't get married in the temple, so
Oh, okay.
she could have
Whatever
hers
she
was
wanted.
still, yeah, hers was still pretty small, but yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I think I've told the story of how my wife and I started dating. Maybe not.
You were in high school
Yeah, we were in high school and
and you were in
we met
different.
at band camp.
Yep.
Quite literally. And she was dating some other dude.
And you were
And
like, "Nope, that's not
yeah,
gonna work."
yeah, pretty much. Yep. And she slipped me a note at the end of band camp that basically said, "Hey, I'm seeing this other dude." The note didn't say that. I knew about that, but back in the '80s, and maybe it's true of all kids. Everybody thought they were being clever with like poetry or whatever, and so when people write the quotes for their high school yearbook type thing
Hmm.
underneath their picture. So my wife wrote me a note that I actually still have in my wallet.
That's cute.
Yeah, and it said, "If you love something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was meant to be."
Yeah.
Say, that thing. And so, but I kept pursuing, and turns out that while we were at band camp, her boyfriend cheated on her.
Oh, I mean that's a good reason to break up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think we kind of knew it was going to happen. So, um, but then, yeah, I think it it was just a little strange. Um, but yeah, there really wasn't much more to it than that. We just like I went to her 16th birthday party, which was that same year, and we just kind of started hanging out, and we went to different high schools in the same city. So after school, we would each walk downtown from school and meet at the McDonald's on Main Street. and just hang out because our parents worked close to downtown, so we would hang out until they got done work, and then go get a ride home from them, each of them respectively. So yeah, the weird part was going to two separate proms and two separate junior proms, and so it was just, yeah, there was a lot. It was a lot. So, but it was a pretty cool experience. But yeah, there was nothing really special about it other than the fact that we started early. It's really, really all it was. So,
Yep.
yeah, that quote, by the way, I tried to get into my senior yearbook as my quote, except I altered the quote and they printed the original quote.
Oh,
So the original quote was what I just said.
yeah.
But what I wanted to put in, and I submitted it, and they overrode it, was, "If you love something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it's yours. If it doesn't, hunt it down and kill it." I think some stand-up comedian or something said that, and when I was in high school, I went, "Oh, that's perfect."
See, and they seem to not filter them near as much. Like people who put like a specific timestamp of a show to,
Yeah,
they're like, whatever,
right.
and then go look it up, and it's
Yeah,
something
Too much work.